Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to our Mech Arena Weapons Spotlight series.
Today, we'll cover guided weapons, the fire and forget weapons of Mech Arena.
Well, maybe for 2 of the 3. I'd argue that the last weapon is more of the fire and vaguely contemplate variety.
What?
We'll get there when we get there. Why don't we just get started?
All right, fine. Keep your secrets.
Okay, to start us off, let's talk about why this category has its name. Most weapons fire stuff that travels in a more or less straight line once it exits your barrel. Guided weapons get a little help.
Exactly. Once you fire them, they'll twist and turn to hit your target, regardless of where you're aiming.
Mostly, yes. They're not magic bullets. They have a set trajectory, and if there's anything in the way, you'll hit that thing instead. But still, very powerful.
Very. The downside is the aspect lock. You need a little bit of time to get a lock on your target for the guidance systems to work. Otherwise, the weapon won't fire.
Mostly, yes.
Is this your secret thing again?
It is.
Fine. All right, let's just talk about javelins.
With pleasure.
Okay, so javelin racks are a pretty powerful weapon, especially considering its low energy consumption. Its damage over the long term is mediocre, but you have to keep in mind it has a double damage chance on each hit. So the 6 rockets it fires each have a chance of dealing twice the normal damage.
Very true. But if you account for the reload time, it's only mediocre damage. It gets outpaced by a lot of other weapon systems.
Yeah, but it's still a good spike. Anyway, what really makes the javelin rack so effective is how its projectiles arc towards the target. Instead of going straight at the enemy, javelins will fire up into the air, then redirect towards whoever you've locked onto. This lets you fire around corners and over cover so you can damage the enemy while they're unable to retaliate.
Sounds impressive. But what's the catch? I think that target lock time would be the first con.
Yeah, there are some issues. First, you're right. A target isn't locked the moment you aim at it. There's a time gap between spotting a target and being able to fire.
But that's just half the story, if I recall.
Yeah, you're right. Your opponent gets a warning when you've locked onto them. If they're smart, they'll dash for cover or find another way to foil your plans. And javelins have a pretty brutal minimum range, so an enemy can always just get in close.
That's always been my favorite strategy, but it's not always an option. Personally, I prefer annoying javelin mechs by hiding. It's hard to see what you're shooting at with a javelin, since the cover that keeps you safe also blocks your line of sight.
But other allied mechs can get a javelin mech the sight lines it needs to get a target lock when it's in cover. You might be able to hide from one mech, but you can't hide from the entire enemy team.
Not for long, no. But if you keep careful track of all the objects in the environment, roofs, overhangs, big boxes, you can trick the javelin mech into shooting you when there's something in the way. Those javelins have a really long reload time, and just neutralizing their attack once can seriously impede their ability to contribute to a fight.
All right, you seem pretty knowledgeable about this. What kind of mechs do you prefer to use when wielding javelins?
Small and fast.
Like kill shots?
Smaller and faster. Shadows can prevent returning fire. Cheetahs can force enemies to run over mines while they try to get inside your minimum range.
But kill shots?
And Lancers can use jump jets to reach areas where the enemy really has no way to get to you.
Listen, you can't keep skipping the kill shot. Everyone uses javelins with kill shots.
Alright, fine. Yes. Tell me about the kill shots.
Well, they're extremely fast, letting you withdraw if the enemy gets close.
Sure.
They can damage enemies that get too close, even inside the javelin's minimum range.
Alright, yes, that too.
Their speed makes them able to shift to hot sections of the map faster than any other mech in the game.
Okay, yes. Killshot is an excellent platform for javelin racks, especially the fancy new Javelin Rack 8s.
Yeah, while we're on the subject of new types of javelin racks, should we talk about cold missiles?
You mean cryo javelins?
I do mean cryo javelins indeed. These things are magical.
Are they very different from regular javelin racks?
They are. In fact, exactly identical to javelin racks, right down to the achievements you can unlock with them and the implants they're affected by.
Just cold.
Yep, just add cold. Cryo javelins, in addition to delivering their nasty punch, also apply a stasis effect on the enemy, making it that much easier to get away.
Wow, that's incredible. Those sound almost as good as disc launchers.
Ah, the disc launcher. Okay, I need to ask you about these because, to be honest, I barely know what they are.
Oh, the disc launcher is the secret I was alluding to at the start of this video. It's the mostly of the guided weapons category.
I knew it!
Of course you did. As I suggested, disc launchers are full of exceptions. They need a target lock to fire, but they get one basically instantly. They'll redirect to hit the target, but only at short range. And their arc of fire is curved, but only vaguely.
So, are they guided weapons or aren't they?
Guided when you're close, at least. When you're standing relatively near your target, within about 60 meters or so, they can even hit around corners. And it can afford to get a little sloppy, since it deals area of effect damage on impact.
Yeesh, okay. I guess it deserves its category. How do you fight these things?
Well, at long range, it's not nearly as effective. The discs travel slow enough that they struggle with a moving target, especially outside their tracking range.
I guess that's why it has the lock-on in the first place.
Exactly. And while it's quite powerful per hit, well, it's like they say, with greater power comes
Great responsibility.
low rate of fire and a small magazine. If you don't destroy your enemy fast, you're gonna have to weather a storm of incoming fire before you can resume your barrage.
That seems like a solvable problem. Just pair disc launchers with mechs that can make themselves durable, like Ares or Panther. Or use fast mechs that can keep out of the fight, like,
Kill shot, I'm guessing? Yeah. It's a good mech for guided weapons in general, really. Fast mechs are hard to aim with, so best to use weapons that don't demand such accuracy.
Yeah, seems that way. Got another way to counter the disc launcher?
Yeah, like I said, their tracking systems break down at long range. So, snipe them. The low rate of fire on disc launchers means that the mech has to expose itself for a pretty long time to deal its damage. Even a tank out of cover for that long can get wrecked by a couple of long arms or railguns.
I'll have to try that next time.
Well, hopefully you won't end up against me. Alright, that's all we have to say about guided weapons.
We hope you enjoyed the spotlight. Leave the comments under this video if you have some tips to share about Javelin Rack or Disc Launcher.
And of course, press like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
Until next time.